Ellis, how much of a surprise?
I know.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised Auburn's a good football team. What I'm surprised, we really didn't play real well. Had a good week of practice. Last 2 or 3, 4, 5 weeks, we really started to play a little more confidently. And you just can't believe the number of missed assignments. That being said, you can't take anything away from Cam Newton. Obviously, we had our shots at him at certain points of the game early and just didn't get him on the ground. We had him on 3rd down a couple of times, and we did some other things that were pretty good that we could have gotten off the field. And that's what it's all about. Get off the field with him and minimize the damage, because he's going to get his shots.
Is he one of the best college football players you've seen?
Well, I would think so. 36 years of coaching, there's a bunch of them in that list. But talent-wise, there's no question about it. And I think the scheme he's in, maximizes his abilities. What Gus does, with the system and all that, he can expose his running ability and his throwing ability and all those things. And, he can just make you look silly sometimes.
Yeah, and the way he does that really deflate the defense when you think you've got him and he gets away?
No question. I mean, early in the game, I think it was a 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, and we get a blitz come free. Well, the last 7 or 8 weeks, that's been come over and get some Gatorade. Today, it's line up and play again on 1st down. Then you got to tackle a 240-pound guy on 1st down. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough. And I think the kids understand, they sort of know the plan is you better get your shots when you can get them. When you don't, it's tough.
How hard is that when you got one guy and you say, just in the end, that's a guy that just beat us?
Well, I don't think he's the only guy that just beat us. He's got some pretty good surrounding company. The offensive line is very good. I think they're one of the top 3 offensive lines we played against. He's got a good receiver core, and they got good running backs. So, he's not the only guy, and that's what makes it so difficult. You come in with a plan, try to minimize Cam Newton's damage, and let's get off the field, but then all of a sudden 2 or 3 other guys will get you and make a play.
What did that last play of the first half do in terms of momentum going into the second half?
See, those are the type of things I'm talking about. I mean, that does have something to do with Cam Newton. A lot of quarterbacks can't make that throw. But at the same time, we were out of position. Our players did not play the call that we had correctly. And I think sometimes they don't understand what's at stake. Now, if you played against another quarterback, you might get away with that. But against him, you can't, because he's got the ability to move out of the pocket. We didn't stay outside and contain him. Our DBs, underneath guys, didn't bang the verticals, and then DBs weren't playing back at the depth that they should have been playing on that situation. So you give them a shot, and he's good enough to take it.
What was consistent in the coverage breakdowns? Was it something different every time?
Oh, yeah, just different things. Yeah, they picked us one time on a man-to-man, which was a very good play by them. But we had another one where we had a man coverage in a little wildcat formation, and somebody missed an assignment and stopped and covered the wrong guy. But a lot of it was just too much time to throw and too much time to execute the type of routes that you can't cover for 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Ellis, how do you fix the secondary at this point? Or is it just kind of broken beyond repair?
Well, I don't understand why you make that remark. If you go back through the last 4 or 5 weeks, obviously they played terrible today, but it's not all the secondary. You got to get some pressure on the guy. We didn't. When you're back there covering, and a guy goes back there scot-free on a blitz and misses a tackle, you can't cover the guy for 7 seconds on a pressure. So it's not all about the secondary. A lot of the missed assignments and problems came within other positions that should have taken care of it. Secondary's made a heck of a lot of plays over the last 4 or 5 weeks, and they've improved a lot since mid-season. So we definitely did not play consistently about that tonight, but I didn't see consistency in any one spot on the field. We had chances to get Cam Newton today with our front 7 and didn't get it done.
It seemed like those chances that you had, they were trying to get him up around the shoulders and stuff.
Well, he makes it look like that sometimes. Sometimes when you come in and you got a shot at him, he has that ability to move just a little bit, where if you're a 200-pounder, you still grab him by the jersey and pull him around. But with him, you kind of get kind of a glance on him, and you can't get him on the ground. But there were a couple of times our front guys, got centered up on him and kind of slid down. And, I don't know that they were tackling that poorly, or if they just didn't follow through. They probably could have done it a little bit better, but it's Cam Newton. You got a 245-pound guy standing back there that can run 4 or 5. It's hard to get a good clean shot on him, and when you do, it's like trying to tackle a big old tight end.
I know you have to look at the film, but could you tell any difference that they schemed offensively as opposed to their first meeting?
they were a little bit different, but it wasn't anything. I thought they had a good plan. I thought they spread us out more than they did last game. Obviously last game they played well enough. You didn't have to change a whole lot. But maybe they thought we would try to repair and work on what they did. There were a couple of plays that hurt us real bad the first game, and they never came back to them tonight. So you spend a lot of practice time trying to get those things straightened out, and all of a sudden you don't get them. But they did a good job. They played more 3-wide and 4-wide formations and stuff, spread us out, and when he was running the ball, it gave him a little bit better running lanes and things. When they were throwing the ball, obviously put us on some islands where I thought they probably outplayed us. But other than that, we usually against them after about 4 series, you have a feel for what their plan is. Unfortunately, tonight we had 2 series, one of them we didn't, but 2 series in those first 3 touchdowns, we had a chance to get off the field and missed a tackle.
Are you disappointed this just wasn't competitive? You reached this game and just can't stay.
I'm more about performance than I am about stats and wins and losses. I mean, obviously you want to win the ball game. That's the purpose of coming. But when you play, you want performance. You want to see kids function. You want to see kids make plays and do the things they're supposed to do. What my biggest concern is right now is that we didn't play well. And whether we would have played well, I don't know that we could have beaten Auburn. I mean, they're a really good football team. And certainly if we played them 10 times, they'd beat us more than we beat them. But on this given night, I was just very disappointed. I don't think our players played as well as they could. And that always disappoints coaches.
Do you think I was just being in this big stage at all? I mean, do you think?
I don't know. I thought our guys, we had a good week of practice, and I thought they were ready to play. I mean, they looked like they were excited about it. We were more worried about them getting overly, fired up and everything, making dumb mistakes early, but they seem really, in tune. If you go back and look at it, y'all saw the same thing I did with 20/20 vision. We didn't tackle. We couldn't get him on the ground, and he kept drives alive, and eventually they're in the end zone. Then you look up and you're down 3 touchdowns, and you got a problem.
Is it hard to separate this game from what you've accomplished this season?
No, unless we don't learn from it. We got to learn from it. I don't want any of them to be ashamed. I don't want any of them to feel like they're not haven't accomplished something great, because I really think they have. If you go back, when you look at it, we probably played over our head more times than we played poorly. And I think what these bunch of kids accomplished should never be minimized. I think it should be recognized. But they better learn from a performance like this, because if you don't, you're going to have more days like this.
Does it show, one, how far the program came this year, but maybe also how far it still has to go?
That's all. I think you're saying what I think. I think we might have overachieved a little bit this year from a standpoint of what we reached. There are a lot of other factors involved in that, where other programs are and those type of things. But it's always a process. It's a building process. The recruiting aspects of it are never, ever anything but the most important thing. And I think what we did, we had about 4 or 5 kids who entered our program who gave us a chance this year. We took advantage of it, made some plays from critical time, beat some people who weren't playing well at the time. And these kids deserve a tremendous amount of credit. But I think when you look at the big picture, it's still a work in progress. And I know that getting here gives us a chance to maybe get more guys to come here knowing we can do it. But the performance tonight leaves us in a situation where we got to do better next time we go out.